And we lived there about 3 months, and our finished basement flooded. And it was really wonderful. It was a great experience. And we ripped out all the carpet and the drywall, and like the emergency guys came and they did their thing, and it was $1 gazillion. If you haven't had your basement flood, you should start saving for when your basement floods, because it's very expensive. And they, our insurance covered it. Well, some of it, you got to pay your part of the insurance. And the guy came and put our carpet in on Saturday morning, and we were really excited about it. So we started moving our furniture back in. And on Tuesday, the next Tuesday, the canal behind our house overflowed, and we had feet of water in our basement, like feet of water. And in case you didn't know how insurance works, they won't cover it. You're just sad, very, very sad.
Did they do it once?
No, outside water coming into your house is not covered. Before it was covered because a pipe broke. So it was a happy day, and I was a little bit overly sensitive since I was pregnant at the time, and those of you who have experienced that might be able to imagine what that was like. And I was just barely pregnant, and so we weren't telling anyone. So it was a wonderful life experience for us. And so because no one was paying for it, my husband did all the work. And we had everyone we knew, people we didn't even know, ripping apart our drywall, pulling out our wires, like everything. It was like, have you seen the Katrina afterwards? That was our house. That's really what it was like. And so my husband comes to me and he's like, okay, I figured out how much it's going to cost to do this first phase of rebuilding our basement, and I need to buy these tools. And so he shows me like how much the lumber is going to cost. Then he shows me this tools column, and I'm like, yeah, that looks great. Are you sure we need this expensive of tools? And he looks at me and he says, if you want to do the job right, you have to have the right tools. And I was like, well, it's like when you're buying a new car, right? What's the leather seats? Might as well. So we bought the expensive tools, the good ones. And he worked really hard, and I helped a little bit, not that much. And we put our basement all back together. And that was good. It was good to have a basement back together. And then about a year later, our basement flooded again.
Oh my gosh.
And there was much weeping. And he said to me,
Heather, are you still in the house?
yeah.
It's time to go.
Yeah, it's a sign.
It's a sign, right?
Third time's a sign.
I told him actually after the second time if it happened again we were moving, but we're not moving. So he says to me after we calmed down, he says to me, I'm so glad we bought those expensive tools because they work so well, and I was glad too. But because of that, I have used those tools, and they're so nice. It is amazing what a good drill can do that a cheapo drill cannot do. Well, Schulfer Lines is kind of the same way. You got to have good tools. You've got to know what you're talking about, and you have to have the tools to help your customers understand the queue. Does anyone in here not understand the queue? Are you like, what is she even talking about? I've never heard of this before. Okay, good. I'm glad you all at least heard it. So in your queue presentation, there are a couple of tools we're going to talk about today. And the first one is the actual presentation. And the first thing that is one of the most important things that if you're not doing, you want to, is to have a host minute. So Janelle, come here. So I prepped the host about this beforehand, but Janelle is not prepped because she's a volunteer host. And at the very first little party, I say, Janelle, I am so glad you invited us into your home, and I have a little gift for you. Because for me, it's scary to have people come to my house, right? What if they find those Cheerios under the couch that I leave vacuum? So I have a little gift for you, and these are macaroons. They're my favorite, so for you. And Janelle is going to tell us in about 2 sentences why she likes the queue. So tell us what you think about the queue, Janelle.
I like the queue because every month food shows up that I forgot I ordered and paid for, and it shows up.
Awesome. It's great. Anytime you get to go to the store, anytime food comes to my house and I don't have to take 3 kids to the store, win. Absolutely. So I agree. I love it. Thank you, Janelle. You did a great job. Yes, Julie. Okay, so host minute, first of all. When your friend tells you about this really great deal they got, do you kind of want to go do it too? Yes, you do. Whereas when some stranger that's selling something tells you about something that's great, are you like, maybe not? That's how I feel. So having their friend that invited them over say, the queue is great, I love it, is an amazing part. Don't forget it. Now, if your host isn't on the queue, what could you do?
Get her on the queue.
You could get her on the queue. That would be ideal. You could also talk to her in advance and tell her you're going to have her share what she thinks about queue, even if she's not on it. I have my co-hosts talk about queue even if they're not on it. Most of them have been to a party before, they understand how it works, and most of them then get on the queue, which is great. So, okay, host minute. Next, you need to tell your own story about queue. You are a consultant. You are having a queue shipment come every month. You have a story. So you need to figure one out. Or you need to borrow someone's. So if you don't have a good story, figure one out. This is my very favorite one. A consultant on my team, Elise, had a baby earlier this spring, and she came home from the hospital, and it was her husband's birthday that day, the day she came home from the hospital with a new baby. And she is such a good and loving wife. She thought, I should make my husband a cake. And I think, oh, what a good wife she is. I would just tell him to go buy a cake. So she went to the fridge to get the eggs out of the fridge, and there were no eggs because her husband had been home with the kids for a couple of days, and what do husbands make? They make scrambled eggs. That's what. Yes? Yes, husbands? Anyway, that's what her husband makes. He makes scrambled eggs. Easy, filling, done. So there were no eggs in the house. And she's like, no problem. My queue came last week. I have eggs. So she opened her whole eggs and she put them in. And she made a cake for her husband. It was great. He didn't know there were powdered eggs in it. And they had a happy little birthday. And it was great. And then she went to make frosting. And she didn't have any powdered sugar. But she's like, I'm a terrible wife. I have no powdered sugar. And then she thought, no, I'm not. I'm a good wife because my queue comes every month. And 2 months ago, I got powdered sugar. So she went to her pantry and pulled out her powdered sugar and made some frosting. And she made the cake. And that is exactly what the queue is about. The queue is about having stuff on hand so that when you need it, you have it. So there's a little story. You can steal it if you need. But if you can share an experience of yourself with the queue, it is much better. People really relate to you. So add into your presentation your story about the queue. Next is the whiteboard presentation. I didn't make this up. I stole it from Lisa Warnick. So if you see her, tell her that it's awesome. So this is exactly what I do, and I know you're kind of far away. At a home party, you would be closer. I would not be this far away from it. That is way too far away. So I know you can't see me, just pretend that you can. So this is exactly what I take, and I'm just going to tell you what I put on. So you take Chocolate has a program that I think is the best thing that has happened for grocery shopping or for food stores ever. I love it, and I'm going to tell you. It's called the Queue, and it's a lot like the Netflix queue. You remember when they actually send DVDs to your house? It's like that. You know, look for the things you want, and then what you find is what you want to your house. So the first thing that it's going to ask you when you fill out the queue form is it's going to ask you about your family. So we're just going to write down for my family. At my house, there's a mom, that's me, and a dad, and a bunch of them. Then we have 3 kids, and my kids are little tiny kids. So I'm going to count these kids. If you have teenage boys, it would be a lot. If you count those as a kid, maybe 2 of them would be a lot. So this is our family, and we're going to put that in the computer, and it's going to tell us how many calories we need and how many pounds of pieces that adds up to, because who knows that. So you put that in, and next it's going to ask you for your reservation. So reservation means how much food you want to have stored, not how long you want to make food, how much food you want to make. So let's say you want to have 3 months of food in your house. I am an older student, and I rent for 2 years, so we want to have 2 years for that. Next, you keep a ship date. This is a date that the food is going, that your credit card is going to be charged, and it's going to be queue. So you get a new cost, or something like that, a new cost. It's just another day to get from the ticket. So mine is on the 7th. So we're going to write that down. Next, we need to choose a budget. Now, when I first started checking out, my house was flooded 2 times in the last year. We were on the very stress. Anybody ever been on the street in their house? And I had this fear. I'm like, are you afraid of this fear? And then I'm like, what did I know? I was the best at this. This is tried. I was the most good. But I did it, and guess what? That didn't happen. It's great, but I didn't have to do it. All I did is I took some of my regular grocery money, all my groceries, right? I took some of my regular grocery money, and I set it towards my queue. Now, I just took 1 week's worth of groceries because that's easy math for me, and I'm kind of a math dork. take 1 week's worth of groceries. So for me, that's $150. Does that sound about right to everyone? About $150 at the store? Yeah? Okay. So I take 1 week's worth, and that first week of the month, I buy food storage instead of buying groceries at the store. And it's great, because then when I need to make a birthday cake for my husband or whatever, I just go to the cupboard and I pull out my powdered sugar and I have it and I make it. So it's great. So you're going to write all that down. I'm going to put it in the computer, and the computer's going to do its magic, and it's going to come up with this list across the top. These are all of the things that you could have. And you're going to look at it, and you're going to say, but I really hate corn. Do you know there's a lot of people that hate corn? I didn't know that personally. So we're going to throw the corn out because you don't want it. And we only want you to get the things that you really want, so throw it out if you don't like it. And you really hate rice. Do you know there are a lot of people that hate rice? I know, they're crazy, but that's you. So you throw those things out, and you like all the rest, so you leave them in there. Then, in August, because that's the month we're in, it's going to send you an email about 7 days before you have to ship it. So we have it shipping on the 7th, so on the 1st it will send you an email, and it will say, Dear Heather, in August your queue has cheddar cheese and peach drink and ground beef and onions and macaroon cookies. And you'll get the email and you'll open it up and you'll be like, oh good, I'm glad it's coming again already so soon. And then you'll say, but I don't want chopped onions because I bought them when they were on sale a couple months ago. So I'm good with that. But what I really need is I need more pineapple. It is a need for me to have more pineapple. But besides that, I think everything's great. So you just switch it around to however you want, if you're like me, or you can just let it go, have it ship, whatever it is, and then it ships right to your house. And it's great. So that's how the queue works. And are there any questions about the queue? Okay, somebody ask a question. Soraya, did you have a question about the queue?
Is there a long-term commitment? What's the commitment?
When you first sign up, you sign up for 3 months, so you can really give it a good try and find out how it is. And then there is no commitment after that. I find that most people, after the 3 months, stay on for a long time, and very few people cancel. They love it.
Is there a minimum?
There isn't a minimum, but I find it's really best if you just reallocate some of your grocery money. So whatever you'd spend maybe in a week at the grocery store, spend that. Sherry, did you have a question?
I was going to ask that, but I like your answer a lot.
Thanks. All right, so that's how I do the whiteboard presentation. But when I'm done with the presentation, am I done talking about the queue? No, because the queue is the most important thing. So we'll talk about this more. Okay, the next tool that you need is you need to introduce the Smart Start program. So this is what I do. Okay, host Janelle, come back up. Okay. These are, in my party, I use party binders. I used to print off the price sheet for everyone and they would take it home, and it isn't that effective. So use party binders. She's going to pass some of these around so you can look at it. You don't all need one, but sit by somebody that's gone. So on my binder, what's the most important thing in your presentation?
The queue.
The queue. So that's the first thing on my binder, because as my guests are like sitting there eating some pineapple, chatting with each other, they're like, oh, what's this queue thing? Right there, it tells them. First thing they see. Okay. We were talking about Smart Start though. Okay, so Smart Start is the very first thing they see. Isn't this a nice flyer? I love it, mostly because I like cookies, and they chose cookies to be on the fronts. Anyway, and they look delicious. So when I'm talking about my party binder, you hand it out, and everyone's like, oh, what's this? And they start flipping through it, so tell them what it is. So we're going to do that right now. This is what I do at the first of the binder, at the first of the party. So you've all got your binders. Did I pass out enough? There's 2 more up here. Everybody can see one? Yeah? Okay. So at the first of the party, you say, okay, I'm just going to walk you through your binder so you know what everything's in there. So you open it up. Everything on this side in this pocket is yours. You can take it home. It is just for you. I made it especially for you. And in it, I have a customer care card, and if you'll all fill that out, we're going to do a drawing here at the end of the party, so make sure you fill it out, and you can get some macaroons just like Janelle did. Next is the monthly specials. These are the things that are on sale specifically in July, and these are great deals, so make sure to look at this. My favorite, oh, it's August, not July. My favorite thing that is on sale this month is, okay, I have 2 favorites. I really love the Colby cheese, and I really love the roast beef. So if you're needing a suggestion, those are 2 of my most favorites. Janelle, our host, do you have a favorite that's on sale this month?
Yes, my favorite is the strawberries.
Oh, it's hard to go wrong with the strawberries. Weren't they delicious when we had them earlier? Okay, next is a brochure about becoming a Shelf Reliance consultant. And I love being a consultant, and it is a great opportunity. We're going to talk a little bit more about being a consultant in a minute, but you can thumb through that if you're already excited about it. Next is your order form, and we'll walk through that at the end. So all of those things you can keep. The rest of the things need to stay in the binder. So the Smart Start program is the way for you to really figure out what your family likes on the queue. Because the price list is kind of long, right? There's a lot of things, so it's kind of hard to decide sometimes what to get. Does anybody else feel that? I sometimes can't make a decision about anything. It takes me like a year to decide what kind of jeans I'm going to buy. Anyway, so this solves your problem. So if you'll turn over to the back, it shows you there's 3 months. So the Smart Start comes in 3 months, and it comes in cute boxes like this that I love. And it has everything you need in it to make a meal. So in the first month, you're going to get a bunch of stuff, and they come in pantry cans, which is this size, so you can try it out and decide if your family loves it. Because you are going to love the green chilies, by the way. Very amazing. So you try them out, and you make a couple of recipes. So the first month, you're going to make delicious cheese bread. If you have not made it, top 10 recipe ever. And a couple of others, and then the next month, you're going to get some more products, and you're going to make tacos, and you're going to make sweet corn and bean salsa, and some taco soup, and a bunch of other great things. And then the last month, you're going to make the cookies. Okay, there's other things too, but the cookies really are the best. So you're going to make cookies, and you're going to make lemon blackberry crisp, and macaroni and cheese, and all kinds of great things. Now this gives you the opportunity to try a bunch of stuff and find out what your family wants. Then, when your queue's coming up and you see that strawberries are on sale, you'd be like, we really love the strawberries, so we want those. Or, those cookies were so good, we better make sure we have the ingredients for those. It really helps you decide what things your family likes. I highly recommend it. They're $150 a month, so there will be tax and shipping on top of that. So remember that when you're doing your budget. Okay, the next thing in your binder is the home party price list. I usually highlight these. Do you guys have highlighted ones? I don't have one. Okay, you can see how I highlight. And then at the back of in this back envelope there is a catalog. Everybody have a catalog. If you'd like to look at the pictures, that helps me, those visual learners out there. That's what I gotta look at. And there is the Thrive product detail document. That's for you if you are concerned about having MSG in something, or if you need to know if it has artificial flavors, or any of that stuff. If you're curious, it says everything you need to know. Okay, that's your binder. So that's how I talk about the binder. I want to talk to you specifically as consultants about the Smart Start. How many people in here bought Smart Start? Really?
What?
Really? Okay, next month you need to buy Smart Start. Because once you buy it, you'll be so excited about it. I bought it the very first month after they announced it, and I was like, came to my house, I was like, Christmas, my kids and I are sitting on the floor, we didn't even make it to the table, we're opening it up, pulling everything out, so I'm going to show you what's in it, because it's so fun. The very first thing, can you see it's like this? The very first thing is the Thrive Express, and I love that these are in the Smart Start, because you can like open it up and make it right now in 15 minutes and eat something delicious. It is great that it's in there. So there's 4 of those in every one. And it comes with a flyer to remind you what's going to come next month in case you forgot. And it comes with the recipe book. The recipe book only comes in month 1. So there's not a recipe book in each one, just a month. Okay, so then you reach out, and it's all pantry cans. It looks like that. So you start unloading all these pantry cans, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's like a million of them in here. And you keep unloading them, and then there's a whole bunch more. Okay, this isn't even half of them, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much stuff, I'm so excited. And I really did think that. My kids are like, Mom, there's onions, and then they're like, there's strawberries. It was so fun. Now, as a consultant, after you experience that, then you can share it. If you don't experience that, you're going to think in your mind, you're going to be like, $150 is kind of a lot. Usually my queue's only $50. I promise, you can sell it if you've already bought it. If you've had a great experience with it, then you can share it with other people. Anyway, so if you want to look at what the rest of the cans are, they're all in there. Okay, they're not all in there. I gave 2 away. They're all in there but 2.
Do you open it like this? Do you bring the can or the box?
Sometimes it's really heavy, so sometimes I don't. My
That
mom
was
told
just-
me
that
I
was a
should
good
just
seller.
dump everything out. And I'm like, but I
I
can't
love
waste all of that. Anyway,
Just when they're empty, save
I
them all.
really recommend that you buy it and use it up and put your cans back in and take it to the parties. Because weren't you like, oh my gosh, there is a lot of stuff in there. That is kind of
Well, and
fun.
when you said that, that makes you think, oh yeah, $150, that's worth it. I liked that.
Yeah, so I really recommend that you buy it and take it to parties. And you could do your samples right out of here, right? Like you could take the strawberries out of here and be like, okay, we're having strawberries now, and pass them out. You could do your whole party right out of here. And if you're planning on that, and if you're only going to buy 1 month of the Smart Start, I would not buy the first month, I would buy the second month or the third month. First month has a lot of flour in it. It's still good, but if you're only going to buy 1 month, second. Okay, so the Smart Start is a great tool. Now, does everyone that gets on the queue at a party buy the Smart Start? No, they don't. But guess what? After we've talked about $150 queues like 8 times, everyone's like, oh, I will have a $150 queue now. And that's fine, because with a $150 queue, they can really get the things they need. Okay, sometimes people want to have like a $30 queue. Anybody else ever experienced that? And they can get like a can of salt and a can of apples. And you're like, it's really going to be great in your pantry, a can of salt and a can of apples. So I really recommend that they really use it like they would their grocery shopping, right? That's not what you would buy at the store this month, right? If you went grocery shopping today for your family, you'd spend about $150 and you'd buy a bunch of stuff, so let's do that. Okay, next. Any questions about Smart Start before we move on? Are you feeling like Smart Start is super cool?
Yes.
Super cool. Okay. The next thing, the next time you talk about the queue is when you go over the order form. So now it's the end of the party, and I say, okay, everybody pull out your order form. And I lost my, kind of like that. Okay, everybody pull out your order form. Remember, it was in that front pocket of your binder. So they pull out their order forms. Get out your pens, and we're going to fill out the top part to start with. Okay, everyone write your name down, because I need to know whose order it is. Next, put your phone number down. Okay, and I say this, but if this isn't true for you, then don't say it. Don't lie to anyone ever. I say, next, I need your phone number, and I'm not going to call you, because I don't call customers. Sarai does, and she's amazing at it, so if you want to do that, talk to her about it. Put your phone number down. I'm not going to call you. It's going to be shipped directly to your house from FedEx, and they're going to call you when they get lost on the way to your house. So if you have a hard to find house, anyway, I got to have a phone number. Next, I need an email so you can track your order. I know the host and consultant information because I know it. You don't have to fill it in. Next, I need your shipping address. It's shipping directly to you. Make sure you say that. A lot of home party programs, they ship to the hostess, and then she distributes it out. And so that's kind of what people expect. Make sure they understand what's going to happen. So fill out the shipping information, and I need your address so I can ship it to you. Next, I need your billing information, so just write your credit card number down right there. And then the queue. This is where you fill out the queue, and it's just this one little line that says the queue order. So how many in your family? Remember, that was my family. Mom, dad, 3 kids. So you write that down, 2 adults, 3 children, or whatever is you. Next, the plan duration. Remember, that's how long you want, how much food storage you want, how much stuff you want in your pantry. You could have 2 months, you could have 2 years, whatever you want. Next is your monthly budget. I just reallocate $150 for my grocery budget, and I put it right into my food storage budget. So I write $150 there. And then your ship date. That can be any date that you want. I like it to be at the first of the month, but if your life's different than mine, it's at the end of the month, whatever works for you. Okay, now you got that. If you want to do an individual order at the party tonight, so you can have something really soon, this, you just write it down right here. So you really loved the taco soup we had tonight, and you wanted to try the ground beef. So you just write the ground beef down here, and you like the tomato powder, so write it down there. Now that'll come really soon, so that's what you want right away, and then the things in your queue will come on your next ship date. So if you wrote the 25th, it'll come on the 25th. So that's what I need for you, and I will come help you in shipping the tax. So that's the order form. Questions? Okay, so now I'm talking to you, not to party guests. So what about walking them through the order form is helpful?
You get all the information.
It makes them do it. If you're like, just, okay, there's an order form in your binder, and you can fill it out if you want to order, are they going to do it? No, they are not. They need you to walk them through it. And even when you walk them through it, sometimes they write down weird stuff, and you have to be like, really? 6 years is how much you want. And then they're like, oh no, that's not what I want. So, you only laugh because it happens, right? So So walk them through it. Okay, that is, I gotta look back down. Okay, we talked about that. Okay, there are a couple of other tools besides the cue that you need at your party to help you as a consultant be prepared and ready to go. The first is a consultant binder, and mine actually looks just like my party binders, and I thought about that today, and I thought that's not such a good idea, because then maybe I would hand it out to a guest. So maybe make your cover different than your party binder. But the things I have in mind that are very important, okay, there's really one thing that I think is the most important, and that is this Thrive Food Storage Packs. You take this to parties? You should. Why should you do that, Heather? Well, the thing is, every once in a while someone will come and feed a party and they'll be like, I would really like to buy like 2 years of food storage for my family of 10 people. And you're like, what would you say to that? That would be great. I would love to do that. Would you not say that? Yes, you would. But then they'll say, okay, I'm really interested in this package on the price list that says 6 months supply for one person. Could I just buy 12 of those? And what exactly is in that? Who knows what's in that package? No one. There's too many packages. You don't know. But if you have this, then you say, oh, let me tell you. This are the things it has in it. And then you show them, and then they buy it, and it's a happy day for everyone, right? Take this to your party. The first time somebody told me they wanted to buy a big package, I didn't have it, and I was like, I should totally have taken that to a party. So now I take it every time. Take it, you'll be happy. The other things in your binder are things that you need to know that not every customer needs to know, right? There's all kinds of stuff you need to know that not everyone needs to know that you might need to reference. And if you try to look it up on your phone, is this website going to work? No, it's not. You need to have a printout with you. Okay, so that is party binders. The other thing I have in my consultant binder is I have an extra of everything in my binders that I give out in my party binders. Because sometimes people will take your stuff out of your binder, or sometimes you have like 10 extra people that you didn't plan on, and a lot of times hosts have copiers in their house. I never knew this, but they do. So if you're like, oh, would you go copy this for me? They'll be like, yeah, run downstairs, copy, bring it up. So have an extra of everything. And I also have, these are my host packets. So I have some host packets, and that's what I have in my consultant binder. This is just reference for you. Does anybody already take them to parties? Does anybody have anything else in their binders that the scientist said? Okay, apparently not. Okay, the next is the script. Who has been a consultant and done less than 5 parties? Anybody in here done less than 5 parties? Brittany has done less than 5 parties. Thank you, Brittany. At your first party, it's kind of scary. Does everyone remember their first party? And they're like, I do not know what to say. And you're like sweating, and you're like, I hope no one can tell I'm sweating. You're like, everyone step back. Okay, a script. If you have never written one, you should write one, even if you've done 5 million parties. Why should you do that? This is one of my favorite quotes, and it says, the purpose of this is to prepare you to act. If you have written it down, you will be prepared to open your mouth and start talking about it. If you have not written it down, you'll get up there and you'll be like, hey, thanks for coming. Anybody want some pineapple? And you'll have nothing to say. It will be gone, literally gone. Are you going to stand up there and read your script? Hello, welcome to the party. Thank you, hostess. No, you are not. That would be totally lame. But the action of writing it and practicing it and figuring out how is the best way to talk about the cue, how is the best way to talk about being a consultant. It helps you figure it out in your own mind. So you need to write a script. There are a bunch of great videos on YouTube about people doing parties. Go watch them all and figure out what you like and steal from them. You know, if Lisa has a video on YouTube, if she has a phrase that you really love, then use that phrase. If Soraya has a phrase you really love, say it how she does, you know. Until you are confident to use your own words, it is just fine to use somebody else's. Okay, a couple more things to remember about party presentations. Shorter is better than longer. Okay, has anyone been to a home party that the person got up and spoke for at least an hour and a half?
Yes.
I have. And were you thinking about an hour and 15 minutes in, I'm so glad I came, I wish this would go on forever. No, you are not thinking that. You're thinking, is there any way I could possibly leave right now? But you do not want your guests ever to think that. You want them to have a great time at the party, right? Shorter is better than longer. How long is a good length to aim for? aim for 20 minutes. I usually go over a little bit. I'm usually done in 30 minutes. But 20 minutes is what I aim for. And
You're at 30 minutes right now.
oh, Sarai says that's what I'm at right now. The reason I aim for that is this magical thing happens when you have a short presentation. It's amazing. The guests talk about how great everything is. They're like, so let's pretend I'm done talking. And you're like, hey, did you try that pineapple? That taco soup was really amazing. Are you thinking about getting on the queue? I'm thinking about getting on the queue. Did you know that my mom did the queue and she's been on it for like 3 years and she loves it and she does like $300 a month and she still does it every month? They say all of that. And it's amazing because when your friend sits next to you and she's like, I think I'm going to do the queue. Are you going to do the queue? What do you say? Yeah, I think I'm going to do the queue. What are you going to get in your first shipment? It's great. And if you give people time, they will do that. Now, if you go for an hour and 45 minutes, are they going to do that? No, they are going to run to the door because they have a life and they want to go home. Now, they're probably still going to stay all of that time. Don't think because your presentation was short, you're going to get out of the door, because you're not. They're going to chat, and they're going to eat some more food, and then the hostess has some shelving downstairs, so they're all going to have a little field trip and go down and look at it. They do, don't they?
Yes.
And then they're going to ask you about water filtration, and you're going to have like 45 minutes about water filtration with 2 people, and it's going to be great. Shorter presentations are better parties, almost always. I've never been to an hour and a half party that I thought this was really great for you. Okay, next is don't vomit information on anyone. If you find yourself telling them stuff and their eyes are starting to glaze over, stop talking. They don't care. Okay, this is a good way to think about it. I give you enough information that you can ask a question. So let's just pretend that you're really interested in water filtration and you asked me which is my favorite water filter. Okay, I can talk about water filtration for a really long time. Do you guys want to hear 45 minutes about it? No, you don't. So I would say I really love the Aquapail. It is so awesome.
Why?
And then I would tell you. And then I would say, see? Now I could have just vomited up every statistic I know about the Aquapail, and then your eyes would be glassing over. Instead you're thinking, why does she like the Aquapail so much? Okay? Give them enough that they can ask a follow-up question. It saves you time and it makes for a better conversation. Next is to remember to introduce emergency products. I haven't always talked about emergency products at home parties. Does anyone not talk about emergency products? I think you should. And since I'm up here, I'll tell you what I do. Okay, this is my emergency bucket. And I say there are a lot of really cool emergency products, and there are some that I think everybody ought to have. And I know that the food is really sexy, and we're going to get to that. I do the emergency products right first. We're going to get to the food because it's delicious and wonderful. But there's a couple of emergency products I think everyone should have. Okay, most of the people at my parties are women, so that's who I sort of address. If men are there, it's slightly different. Okay, so I show a couple of emergency products. This is one I think everyone ought to have. Earthquake survival tool. Shut off your gas. Anyone ever shut off your gas before? No, no one's ever done it. Do you know where your gas meter is? Yes, good job. Okay, in an earthquake, which is the most common emergency around here, maybe the #1 problem you'll have is your gas will be on, but it will be leaking. What happens when your gas is leaking? Your house blows up. Do we want this? No, we do not want this. So we want to be able to turn off our gas, because in an earthquake, everyone else's gas is leaking too. So can we just call the gas company and they will come and fix it? No, they will be a long time. We need to know how to do it. So buy this. It's not very expensive, less than $10. You zip tie it to your gas meter, zip tie it to the back in case there are ever teenage boys at your house who might be interested in it. And then in an earthquake, you just put it over the gas valve and you turn it. Okay. Interesting thing that I did not know until sort of recently when we had to turn off our gas is the gas valve does not work like a water faucet. Can everyone imagine their hose, how you turn on your garden hose? You turn it on and it goes more on, more on, more on, more on. Yeah? And then when you turn it off, you turn it off, 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 and then it's finally all the way off. That is not how the gas works. Isn't that good to know? Gas is some kind of special valve. I don't know. Somebody probably knows. And it's on when it's up, and when it's horizontal, it's off. Now, tricky thing, if you turn it farther, it would be back on. So, when the earthquake happens, 90 degrees, and you're done. Okay, earthquake survival tool. Okay, my next favorite one is burn free. Yes?
You can't turn that back on either. You have to have the gas company turn it
so you're gonna want the gas company to turn back on, so don't turn it off unless you actually smell gas. You will smell it if gas is leaking. This is one of my other favorite emergency products. It's called Burn Free. It's only a couple dollars, less than $5. And it's a burn gel. You get burned, you put it on, and it like instantly feels better. It's magic. I don't know what to say. It's great. A couple of years ago, my husband, not my husband, he's wonderful. My cousin, who is a dork, was lighting off you all have one, right? Was lighting off a candy cannon. You've seen like 4th of July, big cannon, they put black powder in it, and then they put a bunch of candy in, and it shoots off, and the kids run to get it. It's wonderful. Well, he did it wrong, and it blew up in his face. Melted taffy all over his arms and hands and face, and so 3rd-degree burns, lots of them everywhere. So what do? Go to the burn center. When they released him, they sent him home with Burn Free, and they said, this is what you need to put on it. So I thought, it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. So I bought some, and it is a lifesaver. Everyone ought to have 2 bottles, one that you're using, one for an emergency. Great for cooling iron burn, great for ink burn. Love it. If you want to smell it, you can come up and try it. It's clear and it's not sticky. Do you want to see one more, or have you seen enough? And I ask that during a party because they're like,
Probably ought to.
I want to see it. So then you show them a couple of more. Or if they're starting to glass over, do you keep talking? No, you say I'm not. Okay? Okay, one last thing I wanted to talk to you about. The next page is the taco soup we had tonight, and Soraya says to me as she tries it, it's not very taco-y. I think I ought to put more in, and I realized I did not put the taco seasoning in, so that's slightly more taco-y. This is one of the foods I rotate through at parties. I have a couple of things I do, and in choosing a couple of things that you offer to your hostesses, you can simplify your life, because then it's easy. This is what my taco soup bag looks like, and I leave everything in here. It looks like this, and I grab it and I take it to the party, and then I don't have to worry. If the bag is full, I have everything I need to make taco soup in it. This really simplifies your life. Choose a couple of things, right? You're going to do chicken salad because everyone loves it. Are y'all tired of it? Yes, please bring on something else. Okay? So you can do taco soup, you can do breakfast, whatever. Have it all together so it's easy for you. You don't have to search and find it every time. Get your party stuff together. These bags are from Sam's, and I love them. This will fit 6 number 10 cans and then a couple of loose ones on the top. You can get all of your party stuff in 2, so I put all my party binders in the other one, and I can go into the hostess's house in 1 trip. I can go out in 1 trip. You don't want to have to make 45 trips. Okay? All right, so Jason gave me the sign, so I'm done. Anybody have a question?